Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Scotland. We're going to do another Scottish beer for you, and we're going to go back to Dundee and review something from a brewery who are getting some really positive reviews at the moment. So for this one we're going to do my second review involving 71 Brewing, but it's my first dedicated review to them, and this is a beer that I reckon I'm really going to enjoy. So for this one we're having a taste of their Ferrous Red. They're saying that this is a Munich Dunkel beer and it comes in at 4.8% ABV. Now, I'm really looking forward to this one. As you'll know if you've watched the channel before, the Munich Dunkels are one of my favourite traditional German beers. I really loved drinking those when I was living over there, and quite recently I really got back into them. It started off with Peter over at The Clueless Drinker. He reviewed the Augustiner Dunkel, and then I managed to get a bottle of it in review as well, and it was really cool to actually be able to review that beer for you. And it's, again, that's really kind of started off my love of that style again. So really looking forward to trying a Scottish brewed one. The only brewery I can think that maybe have one of these in Scotland is actually the Inverarman brewery, and I think I probably reviewed it a wee while back, but the name of the beer escapes me at the moment. But really cool to see another brewery brewing these German traditional beers. The other one, of course, is West in Glasgow that might have one of these, but really looking forward to this beer, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on it. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, a link to my other reviews that I've done from 71 Brewing before. The only one I've done already is actually one that involved Dead End Brew Machine, and also Gallup Brewing from Glasgow. This is the first dedicated review I'm doing to them. Hopefully there's more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Scottish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about 71 Brewing then. So as I've told you before, 71 Brewing are based in Dundee, and they were founded by Duncan Alexander and Mark Griffiths. So Duncan was visiting family in Melbourne and Victoria in Australia when his home brewing cousin took him to visit the White Rabbit Brewery, and this really got him interested in craft beer. He quite often cites that as his craft beer epiphany, if you like. But he went down to Watford in England and he bought a small 1BBL brew kit from a metal basher down there back in 2011, and he brought this up to Scotland and set up a communal brewery in the Portobello area in Edinburgh. And he said that this really gave him a platform to experiment with brewing and also to let people taste the beers that he was producing, and apparently they went down really quite well. But this venture naturally came to an end in 2015, and at this point he'd realised that he didn't want to continue his job in software engineering, because he said that was taking him further and further into the finance sector, and that was something that he really didn't want to do. So he contacted an old colleague and friend, Mark, who was really good at running businesses apparently, and he wanted to kind of pair up with him and found the brewery. And together they drew up a business plan, secured funding from Scottish Enterprise and a few other kind of local investment funds, and set up the brewery next to where the old Black Ness foundry was in Dundee. And this is where they've got a 7,200 square foot brewery equipped with a 25 hectoliter brew house apparently. And the foundry itself was located at number 71, or was headquartered at number 71, and this is why they decided to name the brewery 71 Brewing, which is pretty cool actually. There's a couple of breweries often mention the old industry of the buildings that they were located, or where their brewery is located, if you like, because obviously Scotland was hit pretty hard when it comes to industrialisation and things like that. You know, when Thatcher came along, a lot of things closed, and you know, Dundee in particular is a city that really kind of struggled to catch up again. I mean, Glasgow of course is doing fairly well these days. Edinburgh had the banking sector, Aberdeen had oil and stuff like this. Dundee never really had any of that, and it's a shame as well, because these guys are, I think, the first of the new generation of craft breweries to actually go into Dundee. When you consider how long craft beer's been around, for a brewery to only have started there in 2016 when it's the 4th city in Scotland is really surprising, when you consider there's so many other little towns do have breweries quite close by. But it's cool to see they finally got on the bandwagon, and 71 Brewing do seem to have a pretty good reputation, so you know, long may it continue. But that's all you really need to know about the brewery. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and see everything that they're doing, but they do seem to be a fairly prolific brewery. But let's get on to the actual tasting of the beer itself. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. There you can see Ferrous Red. I'm guessing that this is maybe a tribute to the fact that the brewery's kind of based in an old foundry as well. You can see the brewery slogan there, engineers of beer, on this one, obviously referring to their old careers in software engineering. On the side here it says, with a cast iron backbone of malt flavours, this red lager is something special. Amber red in colour, as if freshly plucked from the furnace. There's a hint of bitterness that settles just below its naturally smooth sweetness. We combined a finely tuned blend of pale Munich toasted and crystal malts with noble and American Mount Hood hops for this one. It's even been cold fermented for a clean crisp finish that's sure to satisfy and refresh after a long day in the coalface. Best before May of 2019. So yeah, it should be a really nice beer, this one. 1.5 UK units, plain bottle cap, like I said. There's the little ready bit there, just let the camera focus on that. You can pause that if you want to read it a little bit more, but nicely presented beer. So without further ado, let's get this out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Really looking forward to this. So it's interesting that they describe it as a Munich Dunkel on the front label, but then they say it's a red lager on the little blurb thing that they've got. I think Untappd and Rate Beer actually had this down as a Vienna lager, at least Rate Beer did. I can't remember what Untappd said. Rate Beer had this down as a Vienna lager, so we'll see how we get on with this one. But yeah, so as you can see with this beer, it's poured a nice dark kind of mahogany colour. There's a little bit of a ruby edge to it. This one is a little bit more red than some of the Dunkel beers that you'll come across in Munich and things like this. So yeah, it is a bit more of a ruby kind of lager, this one, in terms of its colour. But yeah, so you can't really comment on the style of it, if you like, in terms of the colour, but it looks pretty nice. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you probably can't see the transparency to that, but I can tell you by shining it to the light, this beer is pretty clear. There's a solid half finger of a frothy, I would say slightly fawn coloured head, or a very, very light beige, something like that. There is a definite little touch of head to this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it looks pretty nice, but as I say, a little bit more red than you might expect from a Munich Dunkel. Usually the Munich Dunkels are a little bit more kind of mahogany or chestnut in colour than this one. But yeah, looks pretty nice. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one. Yeah, now the aroma is quite nice in this. You can definitely pick out those nice Munich malts. It's definitely got a little bit of that proper kind of bready character to it. It's really nice. So yeah, brown bread in there definitely. Nice little bit of biscuity quality to it as well. It reminds me a little bit of McVitie's Digestives. A little bit of a slightly richer caramel, I would say, as well. It pretty much has everything that you kind of expect of the Munich Dunkel. There's maybe a little touch of a kind of woody note to this one as well, which is interesting. The noble hops are coming out in abundance. You know, you've got that slightly sweet earthiness that mixes really well with the biscuity notes. A little bit of a grassy character to it as well. And you can pick out, there's a little bit of a kind of red fruity note to this one. It's like a kind of candied strawberry or something like that, or maybe even a little bit figgy. That'll be coming, I think, from the Mount Hood hops in this one. The Mount Hood, I think, can usually give you like a sort of black curranty strawberry type thing from what I remember. But yeah, it smells really nice. The fruity quality is a little bit different from the Munich Dunkels that I remember. It's a little bit more candied, I would say. And it's a little bit more candied, the fruit in this one, than the Munich Dunkels that I've come across before. And the bready quality just smells a little bit different as well, actually, compared to the ones. But yeah, as long as it tastes nice, it should be a really interesting beer. This, it is cool to see a Scottish brewery brewing these traditional styles of beer. Like I said, I think it's Inverarmond in Perth have maybe brewed one of these, and probably West in Glasgow, who are, you know, a German specialist brewery. Maybe Top Out from Edinburgh as well have brewed something like this, because I'm sure the brewer there is actually German. But yeah, let's have a taste of this beer then and see how we get on. So this one is the Ferrous Red, Munich style Dunkel at 4.8% from 71 Brewing up in Dundee. One of the newbies on the craft beer block here in Scotland. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Yeah, that's a pretty nice beer. I'll say that straight up about this one. It's really a nice, easy kind of session drinker. This, it's just, it goes down really well. Yeah, It pretty much has everything you would want from the style. Actually, I mean, it's very close to a Munich Dunkel beer. You know, it is really close to a lot of the ones you're going to get, like the Augustiner, you know, the Paulaners, and you know, it really is like a lot of these Munich Dunkels that you're going to get over there. So big thumbs up to 71 Brewing for that. There's not, as I say, there's not too many breweries that attempt this kind of thing these days, but they've pretty much got this style spot on. So really pleased with that. It's really cool to find a Scottish brewery brewing one of my favourite German styles. I'd love to see them have a go at a Doppelbock if they can brew German beers like this. So yeah, with this one, you can feel that nice brown bready quality that just blankets the middle of your tongue there, and that kind of forms the kind of linchpin of the beer, if you like. On top of that, right in the centre of your palate, there's a little bit of a richer caramel there, and as you go further out towards the sides of the palate, there's a little bit of a sweet kind of biscuity note to this one, which is really good. And I just like how that kind of spreads out. As you come further forward towards the front of the tongue, I think there's a wee touch of a slightly woody note to this one. It's maybe even nutty, but I think it's more woody in this beer. You can just feel that as you come towards the front of the tongue. The hops in this are kind of what you would expect as well. Back corners of the palate, you've got that nice smooth and almost slightly sweet earthiness that you expect to the noble hops, and then as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you can pick out there's a little bit of that floral quality there. Then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and kind of and more grassy, if you like. And then of course behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you get that really nice little oily bubble where the fruity esters start to come out of the beer. But yeah, I mean, the fruity notes on this one are nice. There's a little bit of you can feel there's a little bit of that kind of candied strawberry type fruit. As I always say, it kind of reminds me a little bit of these little heart-shaped sweets that you get in the Haribo Star Mix. It really, the kind of candied fruit flavour you get from this one's like that. It almost has a little touch of like a kind of black curranty note to it as well. It's almost just got a little hint of you know, like Ribena or something like that. Just a little bit of that in there, but there's definitely a kind of nice figgy quality there too. As you go further into the aftertaste, I think it's more the kind of figgy quality that starts to come out of the beer, but that, as I say, that little bit of kind of blueberry-ish, not blueberry note, sorry, the kind of black curranty note, the Ribena-y flavours are sitting there at the start with the more sort of candied fruits, if that makes sense. But as I say, this is really cool. It's very, very close to a lot of the German Dunkels that you're going to find. The malt base has one or two things that are kind of slightly different. I think just the way some of the flavours are combining is a little bit different, but it is really, really close to the Dunkel type beers that you're going to find in Scotland. I would bet if they're brewing it like this, they've probably kind of gone over there and actually trained in how to brew this style, because it's very difficult to get. A lot of breweries try these German styles of beer using recipes and don't get that close to them. But I mean, if either, you know, these guys have trained a little bit in Germany, or they've gone over there and been taught by a brewer to how to brew this style. But you know, regardless, the product is really quite nice. They've done a great job with this one, and for a style that I really like, as I say, it's very cool to find a Scottish brewery that's doing a beer like this. So big thumbs up to 71 Brewing on this one. I've been really impressed with both of the beers I've had that involve these guys. So next up, I'd like to see a Doppelbock or a Scotch Ale. I'd really love to see them do it, or even a Rauch beer. That would be a really interesting addition for these guys to do. So hopefully that's going to be a future review for you at some point on the channel. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, this one, I would say it's at the bottom end of mid-bodied, maybe top end of light-bodied. It's kind of somewhere in that region, this one. Nice soft carbonation to it, a little bit oily, but it still has a significant wetness to the mouthfeel, which is kind of what you want. The malt base in this one, I would say as you go further into the aftertaste, it gets a little bit kind of grainy, and I do wonder with this if they're using a little bit of Scottish malt in there. Like I said, there's one or two things that are a little bit different from the ones that you're going to get in Germany, and I think a little bit of the grainy quality that comes out of this one, maybe it's a little bit of Scottish malt they're using in there. I wouldn't like to say for definite, but I suspect that it's not all German malt that's in this beer. And I would say as well that the hops are really nice. The way the noble hops come out is spot on. That's like a lot of the German beers you're going to find. It's got a nice little bit of a kind of, it's got that lovely noble hop quality to it, and it's got the nice juicy fruits that you expect as well. I think it's the malt base and some of the flavours from the malt base that distinguish this one a little bit from one of the Munich ones, but you know, you want to have a little bit of a Scottish touch in it. But in terms of the way the flavours go together, very, very close to what you'll find from the likes of Paulaner and Hackershaw and Augustiner and all of these kind of guys. Yeah. So yeah, really, really nice beer, this one, and as I say, a big thumbs up to 71 Brewing for this. I'm quite hard to impress with this style, but I'm really glad to see that a Scottish brewery's got it right, so well done to them there. And I do look forward to trying more German style beers from these guys at some point soon. So yeah, let's leave it at that. So this one was the Ferrous Red, a Munich style Dunkel beer at 4.8% from 71 Brewing up in Dundee. Very, very close to what you're going to find in Munich, and I think there's just a little touch of Scottish malt in there that reminds you, yes, this is a Scottish beer, which is pretty cool. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from 71 Brewing as well. Do give me recommendations of different Dunkel beers that I can try. As I say, this is a style that I really enjoy. Hopefully these guys produce a Doppelbock and a Scotch ale and maybe a Rauch beer in the future, because I do think they've got a little bit of a knack for producing these darker beers with the lighter, with the kind of lighter flavour profiles, if you like. But this one is really nice, and I'm glad that I got to try this. So we'll see how we get on, and hopefully return to 71 Brewing in the future. But thanks again for watching, pardon me, and I will catch you guys very soon. Slàinte just now.